Hey everybody, how are you? I just wanted to come on real quick and continue the topic of talking about self-love. Until I started really studying it, I didn't realize that there were so many facets to it. I have to admit that when I first heard the term self-love, I immediately thought, oh, I'm going to take myself out to the spa. I'm going to take myself and get a massage. I'm going to go get a pedicure, all of those things. What I didn't realize was that it's a lot of work. And I thought to myself, one more thing that I need to work on. And then I thought, it might be a good thing because there may be some things that I didn't even realize about me that I probably needed to know. So as I started my quest to study it and to talk to some of the therapists and things that I've encountered along my journey, and also looking at the coaching from a coaching perspective. Today, I want to talk about monitoring your thoughts. I guess that's the base way, becoming an observer of your own thoughts. What is it that you think? And why do you think that way? And what makes you think that way? And I thought, that's interesting because a lot of times those that are believers, we think about it and we hear the scripture, take every thought captive, casting down imaginations. We hear all of those things, but we don't always consider our own thoughts, consider how we think about us, consider how we feel about us. The other thing is being able to ask yourself questions like, how do you feel? And why do you feel like that? What is it that makes you feel that way? It never occurred to me that I needed to check in with me. And that's a part of the self-love process. Monitoring my self-talk. What am I telling myself? We need to monitor our self-talk, whether it's good or bad, because it affects how we feel about ourselves. And self-love is such a large capacity item that I don't even think we realize how big of a capacity that it really could be. Because what it does is it causes you to look back on your historical life. That's what I say. And when I can't figure out another way to put it, your past life, your historical life. Past has a little bit of a negative connotation. So I always say your historical life, your history. Looking back and the things that have happened to you that causes you to think the way you do about yourself. Because in truth, many of us have things that happen to us in childhood that cause us to think the way we think about ourselves today. Now, some of us have done work in that arena, and some of us feel that we don't need to do work in that arena. And sometimes we don't even realize we need to do work in that area because we've suppressed so much of those things that happened to us in childhood that we don't think were positive. But at some point we have to deal with them because it affects our adult life. It affects where we're going. It affects how we handle where we're going. It affects the thoughts that we have about ourselves. It affects how we talk to ourselves and the type of talk that we do to ourselves. There are things that could have possibly happened that we suppress, and then something out of the blue triggers us. But when we genuinely operate in self-love and loving ourselves, we want to do the work to get all of that taken care of. We want to do the work so that we feel better, first of all, about us, so that we can monitor our thoughts, and we can possibly heal so that we have a better idea of who we are and how we operate. Because it's easy for us to look at other people and to give them tidbits about how they operate with us. But what we don't always realize is that how they operate with us may be a direct result of how we feel about us. And it goes back to teaching people how to treat you. But if you're not taking care of you, how can you help someone else take care of you? When I was doing some reading, I was just like, wow, I never thought about it like that. If I don't know how I should or desire to be treated, I can't tell anybody else how to do it. So I have to monitor my own thoughts. You know, those ones that when you look in the mirror, you say, I got a little too much here and a little too much there and not enough here and not enough there. Because I am totally and completely convinced that when we begin to leave our country to go to another country to get enhancements, that's triggered by something. Something triggers us to make us choose to do that. Because in my mind, in my thought process, and I guess because I'm a medical person, I don't know that I would go out of my country and trust someone that possibly doesn't even speak the same language that I speak to do surgery on me because it costs a little bit less money. Because immediately I think about the fact that what is it that triggers me to want to do that? That's number one. Number two, what if something happens and it's a botched job? What do I do then? How do I fix it? Is there a way I can make them fix it? But more importantly, what type of talk have I been doing to myself that makes me feel that I need that? I had someone tell me one time that when we are consistently going and working, having work done, that's saying to God that he made a mistake. Like I said one time before, there's some things that are a part of my life right now that didn't have nothing to do with God. It had everything to do with me bending my elbow a little too much, not continuing and being consistent in an exercise routine. Those types of things didn't have nothing to do with God, nothing whatsoever. And I wouldn't blame him for that. But there can be something inside of me sometimes that triggers me that I need to do something different. Because this thing I got going on right now, this body that I'm housed in right now is not making me happy for whatever reason. But typically something triggers that. Whether it's I go in my closet and pull out a dress that all of a sudden is too small, or I pull out a pair of pants that fit a little too snug, something triggers that. Hey, Jamisha. So in self-love, we have to monitor our thoughts about ourselves. What is it that we say to ourselves that make us want to do these things? What is it that maybe has been said to us prior to today that has me thinking about making these drastic changes in me? Did I come into agreement with what the person said? And so because I came into agreement with what the person said, I made the decision that I wanted to do something about it aesthetically. Or did I just come to that all by myself? How did that happen? How did I get here? That's how you monitor your thoughts. And then you got to monitor your self-talk. there comes a point in your life where you have to literally say, you don't have to be conceited with it, but you can definitely be your best cheerleader. And you can say, I'm the bomb.com. But sometimes it takes a process for us to get there. So what is going to be your process in that? And I promise you, when you hit 50 and start moving forward, things happen that you just cannot imagine what's going to happen. Whether it's with your skin, or whether it's with your vision, or whether it's with your weight, whatever. And if you come into it with a healthier self-love, then you're not thrown off as much by those changes. I'll tell you, at 55, at 50, things started happening. At 55, my skin started doing some things, and I was like, what in the world? I've never had this happen to me before. I've never had any problem with my skin. What happened? I had to go to the dermatologist, everything. I ended up going to 2 dermatologists, and they both said something different. So now I'm real frustrated because can't nobody figure out what it is, or how are we going to treat it, or what we're going to do next. But if I hadn't done some work prior to this point, I would have been devastated, because I always thought I had pretty skin, y'all. That was the one thing I thought I had. So to have that no longer be the case in my mind could have caused some major problems. I can talk about me. But that's one of the reasons why I chose to be a coach for women midlife, because it's those changes that begin to happen that can change your entire view of you. And when you have healthy self-love, you learn how to have positive self-talk, how to take those thoughts captive that are kind of crazy. You learn how to hold some things dear and let some things go. But sometimes we have to do some work to get there. I had to do some work to get there. There were some problems. Had to do the work. Sometimes you have to walk away from some people that you thought you would never walk away from. Sometimes you have to distance yourself from people that you thought you would never distance yourself from, so that you can gain the skills that are necessary to have healthy self-love for yourself. Y'all, I didn't know that it was this big of a thing. I was like the rest of the people in the world. Oh, I'm just going to have a spa day. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do that. Not realizing that self-actualization was important. Self-talk was important. How I view myself, so that I can police those thoughts that I have. All of that is important. So I got a webinar coming up on Monday night where I talk to you about some changes that we make in midlife that we need to make, so that we can keep it moving. Because as long as you're alive and you're breathing, you can do anything in the world that you desire to do or you want to do. And that's one of the things that I help you with, is changing the way you think about you, changing how you view you, learning to have healthy self-love of you, the most important person in that thing. So with that being said, Monday, February 27th, I will be doing another webinar. I also am in the process. I've created a program which I am working to get women to be a part of, so that we can get that healthy self-love going and keep it going, so that you know your worth, even if nobody else does. That is important. So register. There's some flyers hanging out around my page that you can register, and let's have a conversation. Let me show you how I help people to get that healthy self-love back. Because sometimes we have it when we're really, really young, and then we have that space in the middle when we become somebody's mom, somebody's wife, somebody's girlfriend, all of that good stuff. And then we get over here on the other side when the children are gone. They're no longer paying attention to you because they got their own stuff to do. Your husband is doing whatever that is he's doing. And you realize, wait a minute, I got to sit with me. Now, what do I do next? Let me help you figure that out. Anyway, I'm Jocelyn McElder. I'm the connection specialist, and I help midlife women to reconnect with themselves so that they can go on to be the great that they were designed to be. You've had some dreams that you put on hold. You've had some ideas that you put on hold. Let's get some of that stuff out, dust it off. Let me help you with that. Anyway, take care. That's my time. Have an amazing evening. Have a great weekend. Jamisha, I can't wait to see you and give you a good old hug. And I'm excited about you developing a healthy self-love. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.